Andre, a music executive who launched Uptown Records and hired Sean P. Diddy Combs as an intern, has died. He was 59 years old. He was born in New York City, was half a minor of 1980s hip hop duo group Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but quickly joined the ranks of music executives first at Russell Simmons' Def Jam Records, and he rose to general manager, and then Uptown Records, a New York label. Then he nurtured rappers like Heavy D and the Boys, Jodeci, I'll Be Sure, Mary J. Blige, and many others. He discovered Combs, hiring him as an intern before promoting him to a talent director. After he fired him in 1993, he went on to create the Bad Boy label. He also did stuff like New York Undercover. So in the 90s, he did like a small little stint with Motown Records, and he had his own label in 2010. More recently, Combs hired him as an executive in his Revolt cable network, where he produced annual music conference. And last December, BET announced a three-part series called Uptown, the history of his label. Rest in peace. Little Richard, founding father of rock and roll, and I want to say the founding father, king of rock and roll, who wrote musical barriers, is dead at 87. Of course, we know him for Tutti Frutti, Good Golly Miss Molly, Long Tall Sally. It's music that's really going to forever, ever ring. Okay, the flamboyant and joyful gender-bending persona embodied the spirit and sound that new art form died Saturday. He was only 87. The musician's son, Danny, confirmed the pioneer's death on Rolling Stone, but the cause of death is unknown, just like the cause of death is unknown for Andre as well. Tutti Frutti in 1956, he cut a series of unstoppable hits, Long Tall Sally, Rip It Up the same year, Lucille 1957, and Golly Golly Miss Ma 1958. Driven by his simple, pumping piano, gospel-influenced, local, sexually charged, and, well, as they say gibberish, but I ain't gonna say gibberish. I heard Little Richard and Jerry Lewis, and that was it. Elton John told Rolling Stone 1973, I didn't ever want to be anything else. I'm more of a Little Richard stylist than a Jerry Lee Lewis, I think. Jerry Lee is an intricate piano player and very skillful. Little Richard is more of a pounder. Although he never hit the top 10 after 1958, Little Richard's influence was massive. The Beatles recorded several of his songs, including Long Tall Sally, and Paul McCartney singing on those tracks, and the Beatles' I'm Down paid tribute to Little Richard's shredder throat style. His songs became a part of rock and roll canon, covered over decades by everyone from Everly Brothers, The Kinks, Creedence Clearwater Revival, to Elvis Costello and the Scorpions. Little Richard's stage persona, his makeup, his glass-beaded shirt also set the standard for rock and roll showmanship. Prince, to cite one obvious example, owed a sizable debt to the musician. Prince and Little Richard of his generation. Richard told Joan Rivers 1989, before looking at the camera and addressing Prince, I was wearing purple before you was wearing it. Born Richard Wayne Pendant in December 5th, 1932 in Macon, Georgia. He was one of 12 and grew up around uncles who were preachers. I was born in slums. My daddy sold whiskey, bootleg whiskey, he told Rolling Stone 1970. Although he sang in a nearby church, his father, Bud, was supportive of his son's music and accused him of being gay, resulting in him leaving at 13, moving with a white family in Macon, but music stayed with him. One of his boyhood friends, Otis Redding, he heard R&B music and country while working a concession in the Macon City Auditorium. After performing at a TikTok club and winning a talent show, he landed his first record deal in 1951. He became Little Richard when he was about 15 years old, when the R&B and blues were filled with acts like Little Esther, Little Milton. He also grown tired of people mispronouncing his name, Penny Man. So he learned a distinctive piano style, a South Carolina singer of pianos who wore his hair and the way he had it puffed up. For the next 5 years, he advanced only fifthly, Fearfully Tame, conventional signals he cut for RCA and other labels didn't chart. When I first came along, I never heard of rock and roll, he told Rolling Stone. When I started singing rock and roll, I sang it a long time before I presented it to the public because I was afraid they wouldn't like it. I never heard nobody do it. I was scared. He had this career that most people really cannot say Because he was a pioneer for a lot of different things. Prince, many others who wear the makeup, who would wear women's clothes, but but was doing it for style. Little Richard started all of that. Okay. So when he said that they stole it, I do believe that is true. I really do. But y'all all will know him for a wop bop a loo bop a wop bam boom. Rest in peace.